Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to your Divine Cosmic Journey podcast with Stephanie. And I just want to say, first of all, before we even get into it in today's episode, thank you so much. I've been receiving so much feedback regarding season two, especially with just expanding the wisdom with the medicine that I carry and want to share here with you regarding the spiritual realm, the energetics of things. So, you've been seeing a lot of the titles have been the energetics of, and just having fun with it. And so, thank you for that. And I've been receiving messages, regarding the guests that we've been having. And I just want you to feel like, at least for the next couple episodes, where you might not see us visually, soon you will. But it's like you're tuning in to a friend's conversation, a phone call, right? That you're having with a long, you know, awaited soul friend, soul family. And thank you for being here. And I pray that the messages that you receive, the healing in these conversations expands into your awareness. And if it does, feel free to share. Let us know what you've received in terms of the medicine here. And as always, thank you so much for being part of our journey, allowing us to be part of yours. And as a shamanic high priestess, Stephanie the Mystic, I welcome you here.
Hello, hello, hello. Welcome. This is Stephanie with you. Yeah, your divine cosmic journey. um, and for those of you who are new as a shamanic high priestess, energy intuitive, and holistic practitioner, this space is just for us to connect to really, and especially with the most recent things we've been talking about, like integrating the passion for the work that we have, the soul's gifts, callings that we have. And then just really right now, we're in a series highlighting people in my world that I've been able to come across and be blessed with, and really their passions and their gifts here. And so I'm like, it's such an honor to like have one of my beautiful soul sisters like legit here with me today and just like talk about her platform, talk about herself, highlight, give her that space. Um and this is Lexis. She is a doula, and she's such a fierce boss lady because she's doing so many things. And I'm actually just gonna pass the mic over to her so she can introduce herself, and let us know like what else, like what are you doing currently? Like what type of work are you finding yourself in the season in right now?
Okay, good morning. Thank you for that bubbly introduction. My goodness, you're gonna make my head big. But my name's Lexis. I am at Doulalovelex on Instagram, but I am a full spectrum doula. And if you don't know what a doula is, I always tell people that a doula is just a supporter of people in a delicate time. But as a full spectrum doula, I don't have a main focus. I do birth, which is labor, which can be long or short. I do postpartum. I help people through abortions. I coach people through doctor's appointments. I coach people through bereavement and loss. So I am the supporter for people going through anything in their life. I feel like I am a great person to hold space. So I allow myself to be open to any space that anyone allows me to be a part of. So lately, my focus has been for birth, but also a big part of my time has been spent with helping people through loss. So that has been my headspace lately, bereavement.
Mm. And I like that introduction just because also, let's see. recently, especially in the past episode, we've been discussing like how on our own personal journeys, like how did you even find yourself like, you know, in this space and like saying like, you know what, I'm gonna go and become a doula.
Oh
What
my.
was your journey?
I feel like there were so many different things in my life that brought me to this point. So I feel like whenever anybody asks, I'm like, let's start from the beginning. So I was exposed to my first experience with labor at 14 years old. My older cousin, she's 10 years older than I am, and she went into labor during one of our sleepovers. I didn't know what was happening, and I feel like she also was in denial of what was happening. So we were just trying to comfort each other of like, okay, what is going on? It's okay. Just get through it and just breathe. And I just remember having this overwhelming urge to just tell her everything's going to be okay. You just need to breathe, you know? And it's so funny that that is the basis of what I tell people, is because whenever we're in a tight situation, that's the first thing we forget to do is breathe, especially breathing well enough to oxygenate and to have a clear mind. So at 14, that was my first experience with that. But I've always been fascinated by pregnancy. Pregnant women have always been like amazing to me, because how are you creating life right now? It is a miracle if you don't believe in them. Um, but in 2017, I went to school to be an LPN. I thought I wanted to be a nurse at the time. And the lady who taught us labor and delivery for our course was actually a doula herself. And I never even heard of the word. And by then, she was a doula for almost 30 years. And I'm just like, that is interesting. And I just put it in the back of my mind, like, that is awesome that people can have that, because I would totally want one if I were pregnant. When I became a CNA when I was 18 years old, I always knew that I wanted to take care of others. It's something that compels me, being there for people that need me. It's kind of vain, I guess, but I just know that I am the best person. Like, if no one's going to do it, it has to be me. So I've been a CNA since I was 18, and I finally made it to the hospital setting in 2018. And in 2021, I motioned my way over to labor and delivery during the pandemic. And it was just incredible to witness labor and people going through this beautiful experience, and it always being different. I've been doing it for over 2 years now, and there's never been a labor that I was like, oh, that's just like the one I had so and so time. No, they're all completely different. But the main theme that ran with me was that lots of people didn't have the education or the like to know what was happening to their body. Everyone kept getting to a point to where they were like, this isn't right, I'm doing it wrong. And they're like, no. So I was like, I need to help. I have to figure out a way to help. So I started talking to more people, talking to midwives, and they were just like, oh, Lexis, you'd be a great doula. And I'm like, oh my God, I know what a doula is. So I looked into programs, and I was like, you know what, I'm going to do it because my community needs it. And I'm tired of seeing my peers thinking that they're doing something wrong that was created just for us. Like, we are the only ones that can do it. So there's no wrong way to do it. You just have to be informed. And I can educate. That's easy for me. So I did a program in 2021, at the end of 2021, and got two different programs that I did because I wanted also to learn how to advocate for others. So I had to learn how to advocate for myself. So everything that I put into practice for others, I had to put into practice for me. And then it just took off running from there. I did my certifications through DONA, DONA, and the other one through Birthing Advocacy, doula trainings, BADT, my God. And it's just been an incredible experience to be here for my community in the Lehigh Valley, Pennsylvania, but then also to be there specifically for Black women, because as people should know, Black women have the highest mortality rate when it comes to pregnancy and childbirth. So I feel like I am compelled to help people that look like me, but also to help anyone that needs it. So here I am doing the work.
Mm. And I just like love hearing. So, and especially if, and I know you know this because you know me, I'm always
Yeah.
about like bringing and bridging like, the spiritual into like the everyday, the magic in our lives and like the divine timing and guidance, right? Um, and a couple of things like that definitely resonate. It's like, um, so I did a podcast with somebody else in the last episode, and we were talking about how like the work that we eventually in the passions that kind of like came up for us in our own journeys respectively, um, it's actually work that we do to help people through what we call as like the dark night of the soul, the dark night of the shadows, or like you said, those moments that like seem really tough, right? Like they might feel overwhelming.
Oh God,
And
yeah.
I definitely see that, like, as you were saying, like you are that support, and some people, and this is what I want to highlight too. It's like, especially in the spiritual community, it's like sometimes we lose like the beauty that's already in there, like in
Hmm.
the everyday, well, not just every day, but like in the work, right? You can be in a hospital setting and you can still be anchoring that energy, and like you bring in a different vibe, you bring a different perspective that most people have lost, you
Yeah.
know? And like you're saying, like for you, you don't see a birth as like the same thing repeated, like everybody else is the same experience. Where I kind of feel like sometimes I think maybe there are some, people in the field who are like, oh, I've already seen it before, you know?
You've seen one, seen them all. I can't
Yeah.
stand it because I've heard that. I'm like, what? It's been 2 years, and I'm just like, no, everyone's a snowflake.
Exactly. And like to hear like you just like say that's like no, it's like every experience is valid, every experience is beautiful, like it's not the same, and I've not become numb to it, you know?
Yeah. I think that's also a big thing with me working in healthcare. Like I said, I've been doing it since I was 18 and I just turned 30. Woo. Not even just. Oh my God, it's already the end of March. Hey. But so 12 years of being a CNA, when you get into healthcare, I feel like people are just like, oh, like you're so bright-eyed and bushy-tailed. Oh, yeah, healthcare will break you. Don't worry. Like you're gonna get over that. And I can't count how many veterans in the healthcare have told me that. And I'm just like, so like when is it gonna break me? Because I'm 12 years in the game and I'm just like, no, like I find joy or something to be grateful for every day that I am in someone's personal space like this. And I'm so glad, like I hope it never changes. And so far it doesn't feel like it will. But I feel like we get very complacent sometimes as a society, and I can't get down with that at all.
And how do you find you keep your fire, your passion going?
Oh my God. I cater to myself first always. And I feel like most people would look at me and they'd be like, oh my God, she never thinks of her. I'm just like, no, I have to, because my body will literally tell me, if you don't stop, I'm going to make you. So I take lots of time just being with myself, being in my head, questioning me, am I okay or am I pretending? Because I'm very good at pretend. I don't like people worrying about me, so I don't let them worry about me. But as I gotten older, I'm just like, oh no, that won't work either. If I need help, I am going to be the first person to ask for it now. So lately, I've been just doing things that make me happy. So I love a good stretch. I love to do my inversions lately. I've been doing a lot of inversions every day. I try to go upside down. I've been really into my nail care. So like I've been giving myself manicures every 2 weeks and like just being with me and figuring out what brings me joy. And I feel like the main things that bring me joy are things that I enjoyed in childhood. So I've been really into roller skating lately. So if it's a nice day, I'm putting my skates on and I'm going out on the driveway and I'm just getting around and moving my body. Movement is something that's very important to me and makes me feel alive. I was a ballerina growing up, so movement is everything to me.
And the whole like idea of like self-care, and I just want to kind of like pause and like highlight that because like in the work that you're doing, and just anyone who's like listening to, right? There are like basic like foundations. Like you said when you were younger, like you had just told your cousin, right? To
Yeah.
breathe it through. And then you noticed like how important that was for like nervous system regulation, especially like when people are giving birth later down and really just in life, right?
Yeah.
And like how certain things that we need to implement also as practitioners and people that will help guide others, it's like we need to practice that medicine so we know how to guide, right? And to lead somebody in their own experience in a lot more safer route, I guess. Or, I mean, because I feel like you will tap into this unlimited source of like strength, peace, It's just like a matter of, can I be really centered, right? I also say there's like an element and component of like just faith and trust, right?
Yeah.
Usually it's the ego that thinks I'm going to die in this experience, right? I'm not going to be able to go through it. But like when you really tap into your like source, higher self, faith, it's like, no, I can do this. Like, I'll survive through this experience, and that's where, like, even for me, I've noticed how, being somebody who's now finding her space right now, like helping teaching others who either they feel like and it's a two double like edged sword, I would say. It's like you're on another journey where you find yourself, hey, maybe your space right now is to work at a traditional conventional 9 to 5 space, right? The environment is
Yeah.
fast paced, the maybe the experiences feel overwhelming, but you don't have to be ruled by that overwhelm, energy, right? And helping to teach
Exactly.
others how to like really tap into the power that they already have and then ground that energy while they're there, or ground it while you're anywhere.
Absolutely. I was diagnosed with anxiety at 14 years old, and I've been developing coping mechanisms ever since, because I just don't like feeling overwhelmed. And of course, that's what anxiety is. So, when I did my training through BADT, it was a lot of self work. It was a lot of questioning me. Why do I do the things that I do? Why do I believe in the things that I believe? Why do I have these certain prejudices and biases and things like that? So, questioning myself and figuring out where that came from has truly helped me find peace in myself, accepting me and accepting the things that I've been through that have brought me to this space has really helped me realize that this is exactly where I need to be, and then how I can do what I can in all of my power to help people get to where they want to be at the same time. So it's been incredible, really.
Mm-hmm. Mm. And like the whole, yeah, because like anxiety, right? And just like we all go through it, whether you're on the receiving in terms of like you're being taken care of or you're the one who's the caregiver, right? Like we're all going through some sort of experience, and that kind of like just highlights and emphasizes just like when I thought about like this particular episode, I was like, okay, I wanted to like highlight just like the theme or topic of nurturing. And I was like, well, who's the most perfect person that I know in my world who
It's me. I'm the mama.
yes. And I like that you're claiming it. Hey, you're not like
Yeah.
so
And it's
shy.
so wild because, like, you know me. And when people talk to me about, oh my goodness, you'd be a perfect parent, when are you having children? I'm just like, I've been parenting my entire life.
Mm,
I feel like I don't have the desire to bring children into the world, mainly because I bring that motherly instinct to everything that I do. If I don't do it for myself, as soon as I know somebody else needs it, I'm going to do it 10 times faster. I need to do it to help someone else. I'm going to lift you up so you can get to where you need to be, and I'm just going to let you fly, because I'm not a helicopter parent at all either. You can do it. And I'm going to give you all of the things that you need, all of the tools that you need to make the choices for yourself. and go fly, baby, because you're a peacock.
Mm.
But I've always had this maternal drive, and I'm glad that I tapped into that early enough to recognize that it's not about having my own children. It's about guiding others, and that is what mothering is. That's what nurturing is guiding others in the way that they need to be guided. I can't tell you how to do it. I can't make you do it one way, because there's more than one way to do anything, but I can give you all the tools you need, all the education you need. You need research, I'll give you all that too. Whatever you need to make the choice for yourself, I am here for you. Just let me know what you need.
Mm. And like I love that, because also that's like what it is to be someone who's a coach, a leader, um and whether it's like just one person that you're, holding space for, or a multitude of people that you're seeing. Ironically, funny enough, I was like thinking about yesterday how many people have coached through, like, like nutrition, wellness on the physical end of things, right? And the
Mhm.
energy. And I'm like, okay, I've had so many experiences, and it was like in a fast-paced environment. It wasn't even a space where I got to spend like half an hour to 45 with you to an hour, right? To really like
Yeah.
get to know you, try to like really do some real deep work. It's like 15 minutes, but like that's one of the major things that I think, especially as we've grown up, like maybe like people in our generation, and of course people before us. And I think things are obviously shifting the more that we are, being more intentional, more conscious in terms of like, one, taking care of ourselves. If you're a
Mhm.
parent, like taking care of others, and even just treating people, like
Yeah,
people in your life, just treating them with like the space of like, life like does not, especially like when you go through the traditional like schooling system, it's like there's no one dry answer. Life is an experience, and I'm here to just show you some tools that you can take with you, and that then I want you, from what you're learning from me, how can you apply that to your own life? And then shape your own. And then you and I have always like talked about like being in your own sense of authority and autonomy, right?
absolutely.
And because that is so important, like that's not really something like most people like think about, but like, yeah, there's people like, even I work through my shadows. We're talking about, dark night of the soul and stuff, your darkest moments, like the triggers and the trauma that keeps coming up for you. And I realized, I was like, oh, as a child, like I was like had to walk around like on eggshells. And
Mhm.
so that started spilling out in my life as I, grew older, and like, but I was becoming aware what I was doing, that I was too afraid to take action because I feared that I'd make a mistake, and like the person like watching over me would not be happy, right?
Yeah.
And that just like really, I feel like it's like such a heavy weight to carry that.
Absolutely. And it's so incredible how we carry that for so long and not realize that that is what's driving us.
Mhm.
Is that those things that we learned in childhood are cemented in us to where we think that those are our values. And we're just like, well, no, that is just what we had to go through. It is not what we need to go through now. It's not what we need at this point in time. It's not what we needed then either, but we don't fault the people for what they were going through at the time either. We just know that that's not something that's serving me now. And how do I break that cycle? Because I don't want to push that forward anymore.
Mhm.
I grew up in I had to walk on eggshells, do as I say, not as I do kind of authoritarian discipline. So that is something that I always revert back to when I forget myself. When I forget how powerful I am, I resort back to being like, oh, I need to be seen and not heard. Oh, maybe I need to like back up and be in the shadow. Like I go back to that, and that's something that I still struggle with, but it's something that I'm getting very good at being like, oh no, that's not me, that's who I used to be. It's not me anymore. I can't do that. You have to hear me. My feelings are valid. What I'm going through is valid. How I feel about it is valid. You might not like it, but I don't like it either. But this is our truth. And we have to be honest about our truth. It's what makes us unique and it makes us individuals. And we can't try to be fitting into something that makes no sense.
Mm-hmm. And like the whole, I think it's so important to like highlight that and emphasize that in any and every aspect of your life, because that can be whether, again, you're going through the, birthing experience, right, as this, woman, or as, again, the person who's in the workforce who has a soul's calling to want to express something, but they feel like, again, you're not enjoying the present moment, and it's like you want to rush through this experience, but there's beauty here. Like you wouldn't have either, whether you did it knowingly, consciously, or unknowingly and unconsciously, there's still magic and lessons to be learned for your own growth, no matter how you got there.
Absolutely. And I think that's like one of my superpowers as well, is that I can find the magic in anything. I find wonder and amazement in anything that happens. And I always try to bring people back to that, for them to see the beauty in something that they see as turmoil or awful or traumatic. Is that there is something there that we need to take from to bring us forward, like it's not something that you need to let go and forget and bury. Please don't bury it. We need to use that to drive us.
And like with like this whole like topic and essence of like nurturing and all the components that like are involved, like I've been talking about how just like mentorship, right? Which is also like the idea when you think about the archetype of a mother, right? That's like what a mother or parent does. Like they're guiding you, right? They have experience. I'm not saying they're perfect. Of course not. They don't know everything. But they know more than where you're at, right? So like when you're looking for a mentor, a guide, a coach, it's like one, it's kind of like when people have been like hesitant to like seek out like a therapist, right? Like, oh, why would I do that? But like, well, I mean, let's see, like there's certain goals, or maybe it can just be in the like aspect in the realm of your life. And there's habits that you're doing that are not conducive to where you want to be, like who you want to be, what you want to do, what you want to experience. But you need accountability. Like, and you also need, like, I always like remember when you work with somebody, it's not like I have to go and do through the whole like doula training to eventually give birth. Like I have somebody who's been there, who can see things from a different perspective, hold space for me, and I can do this. I can give birth, or
You can. It's true. I feel like it's nice to have an outside perspective, and the beauty of what I do is that people hire me to be that outside perspective. So like whenever they're like, oh, like, does this sound crazy? I'm like, no, whatever's in your head, let it out, because I am that space. I am the container. I am not here to judge you. I'm not here to tell you that that's wrong. I'm not here for that. I'm here to hear where you're at. So please let it all out. Like when people are stuck in their head and stuck into the patterns that they've been taught through generations, like people who are in their lives telling them like, oh, this is what I did, and oh, I've never had that before, that doesn't sound right. Like with pregnancy, and I don't know if people know, but like with pregnancy, everybody's an expert besides the person that's pregnant, apparently. Like everybody knows what's good for you, what's bad for you, you shouldn't be doing this and shouldn't be doing that. And that gets to the pregnant person. Like it really makes them feel alone. And the beauty of me is that I'm just like, no, girl, I'm here for you. So you tell me what's up, what's going on in your head right now. Where's your head? And like some of these things are just not something they should be worried about. But they're scared to say something because they're like, does that make me sound like a bad person? Am I doing this right? And it's like, no, there is no right way. There's only your way. And they're like, oh my God, really? And I'm like, yeah, really. I promise you, that's normal. Here's the research. And then if I have to get to that, because I love evidence-based, I feel like a lot of people try to steer away from that, especially when they're doing like holistic, natural things. They're like, oh, we can't trust science. And I'm like, I think there's beauty in using both. So I like to tie them together, you know? So like there's evidence for this, you know? And I showed them and they're just like, oh my goodness, I thought I was a crazy person. And it's like, no. And that's why I'm here to remind you, no, you're just human going through a very human experience. And it's not so fun every time. It's beautiful, but it's not always fun.
Mm-hmm. Mm. And like, and again, that's like what I feel like nurturing is. It's like you're nurturing you, right? And then what that means is like, it's like when you're eating a good meal.
Mhm.
You're nurturing, you're getting the nutrients, you're getting what you need so that you can, build and repair, so you can have the strength to go forward, so that you have a good level of clarity of mind. And so like that's you feeling more whole, right? Like, and also especially because we're talking about like the dark night of the soul and the shadows that we go through. It's like the conditioning that, yeah, we all go through it. Maybe it comes up time and time again, but something I've been learning in terms of like abundance mindset, like the more you begin to practice the tools, you begin to practice the mindset, the habits, the way you show up, will determine like the trajectory and the quality of the life that you're wanting for yourself, because when you're declaring it. And it's kind of too like nurturing has that element of, like you were saying, like you kind of have to have the space you have to forgive. you know but I'm not trying to force it down the throat, but I am saying that, like, ultimately you're going to find yourself in that space of forgiveness, to forgive the people in your life because they didn't know better. Again, they don't know everything.
Mhm.
And um like what I'm feeling into, it's just like, and then forgiving yourself, because you know what, you didn't know you were playing this out. You didn't know that there was another way. It's your way. Like,
That's right.
I get to define how, what this experience will be and turn out for me.
Yeah. We're in charge of our own journeys. And I feel like that is scary for most people to accept, is that they don't want to be in charge. Just tell me what I need to do and I'll do it, you know? And I feel like I'm that way sometimes too, is that I'm very good at following directions. If you tell me, I'm doing it. But to do it myself, oh Lord. But we have to be very graceful. And I tell people all the time, you have to give yourself this grace, because we are all just living this human experience. And there is no book, there is no rule book, there is no guide to tell us the right way, because there is no right way to do it. You just have to do what is true to yourself. And the first step is figuring out what's true to you. And is that you? Or is that who somebody told you were?
Mhm. And like there's so much beauty, like, and I've just noticed it in my own work too for myself. It's like this is not me. It's liberating, because I'm not
Mm.
like, this is not the end, like I literally can in this very moment take a deep inhale and think about like how I want to take that next step. Like, what is it that I want? And I actually shared this yesterday. Like, the moment you start saying, like, I decide I get to receive, let's say, $10,000 months in my business, right? I decide that. There's honestly, when you hold enough space for yourself, like you would help, and hold for anyone else, that wouldn't sound silly and far-fetched if that's what your desire is and you want to express it. Like, and we're so afraid to share the things that are within us because we feel we're going to look stupid.
Oh, well, God, yeah. That sounds really dumb. Oh my God. Oh my God. Is that okay? And like, what do you mean, is that okay? Is that how you feel? Then that's absolutely okay.
Yes. And then like, if you think about it, like, if how you do one thing is how you do everything. So
Mhm.
if that's how you're doing life. Like, just like you don't even allow yourself to dream.
Oh my God, yeah. We forgot how.
Yeah.
On the way, somebody had told us that dreaming is for naive people, you know? And I was like, well, then call me naive because I'm gonna keep dreaming and manifesting and trying my
Mm-hmm.
best to be what I want to be because that's why I am here. That's why we were put here to be what we wanted to be, to live the life that we wanted to, free will. Hello. I
Mm-hmm.
am doing what I want to do because it is what serves me. And
Mm-hmm.
maybe it won't serve me later, but it's serving me now. And there's lessons to be learned. And even if there isn't a lesson to be learned, are you enjoying yourself? Are you happy? What is happiness to you? You need to ask these questions, and it's so hard because it sounds silly, but it's no, it's it's everything, you know. It seems very basic, but it's foundational, you know.
Mm-hmm. And it's like, I always think about like, okay, what has fired me up in my journey? And I've just always worked with people older than me, like
Mm-hmm.
years ahead of me. And they'll always say, like, one, they would either, like you said, discredit me because of my age, right? And compared to them, it was like 20 plus years between us, right? And I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, what does this girl know about life?
Right.
Like, well, the beauty of it is that I have an insight, um, because again, we're connecting to this abundant source, energy, higher self, God, who's again, and oh my God, God has called you to the space, right? He will tell you to say something. You feel it in your bones, but then if you don't act on it, you don't say it because of the judgment, you're afraid to receive and the backlash, right? It's like, what if that person, like literally, God wanted to use you to
Yeah.
share something that could have woken them up a little bit more, you know? Ah.
It's, it's incredible, really, because when I felt like when I got the call, you know, it was 2021. So like when I got the call, I'm like, are you sure? Me? Oh my God, I don't know what I'm doing with myself. I don't know what I didn't know what I wanted to do. Like I said, I went to school to be an LPN and then I decided I didn't want to be a nurse. And then that just left me stuck for years. I'm just like, well, I don't know. I just know I want to help people. And everyone was like, well, yeah, like you can help people doing all kinds of things. I'm like, I know. But I really enjoy I wanted to be a midwife. And I feel like that'll be something for me later down the path. But like when I got the call to be a doula, I was so scared because I'm just like, this can't be. It's not right. Like I'm not hearing it. But then I started getting patients at my job that would be like, I couldn't have done it without you. And I'm like, holy shit, did they mean that? They didn't mean that. And then like it just happened more and more. And then every time I'm in the birthing space, oh my God, what would we do without you? Thank you so much. Thank you so much. You were such a big help. And I'm like, holy shit, it is me. It's me. I have to do this because they need me. And like that was scary enough for me because when people need me, I run. Don't tell me that you need me because I would drop everything to be there for you. But I had to realize that it's like I can be there for others while being there for myself. You know, I can't give from an empty cup. And I've heard that my whole life, but I didn't understand what it was until my first time experiencing burnout. Um, and I'm just so honored to be in the spaces that I am in because the call, I heard it, you know, and I tried to ignore it. But you feel it deep in your bones. Like you said, you feel it so deep that it's like, wow, no, this is me. And who's better at this than me? And
Mm-hmm.
it's that's like it sounds like at first I was like, is that ego? And I was like, no, I've never had a really big ego, but it's like, no, like I have always been that person because I'm an empath, you know. I can feel where you are and I'm just like, no, like you don't have to stay there. I'm gonna get right in there with you and we're gonna crawl our way out of here digging. We're gonna get out of it together. I'm here for you. You're not alone, you know. And I feel like a lot of people don't know how to ask for that help, and I think I would be able to help so many more people if people knew how to ask for help because I am not a salesman. Like, hey, you need me. Do this. It's like, no, if people knew how to ask for help, and that's me, I want you to learn how to ask for help. Ask me. I am available. And all I can do is tell you that I am here. And then you have to do the work to know that you need it too, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like that's the same thing with, you know, we have our faith. Same thing with God. God tells me, hey, this is it. What are you going to do about it now? You know, it's not like he gives it to you. It's like I have to do the work to meet him there so that I can get to where I want to go, get to where he wants me to go, get to where we decide that this is where we're going. And I think it's a collaborative effort. And that's how I approach every client now, is that it's collaborative. I can't tell you what to do. I can only tell you what can be done. And then you tell me what you need, and we will get there together, hand in hand.
And like you hit, like I just like felt like so much, like my heart was expanding as you were talking and just in that flow moment. And like so many things. So many things. So I'm gonna have to like, okay, let's breathe into this phase. I just feel like we're definitely on like the tip of the tongue of the thing, you know, especially like around okay, so and I've noticed this pattern, I've seen this like when it comes to you like really breaking into your own identity, your own self-declaration of what you want for your life, like there's your own genetic coding that you have here to go and live out in this life experience, right? If you, God willing, choose to, right? Please do. Please do not like live this life where you just don't go through the experience of like really getting to know yourself. This is like what business is. This is what it is when it comes to like, you know, owning your own self-expression. It's like getting to really know you. And like I've seen a lot of people, a lot of us have like gone through like the conventional, like we had to go through because we were born in it, you know, we were raised in the traditional schooling system, traditional society, and conventional thinking. However, somewhere along the lines, something in your life, you know, caused you to think like, okay, that's something new. And like when you were saying about like the doula you met, I literally, they're like, a question that's popped up for me recently was like, how did you even get into the space of like energy? Like like how they can see the energy I carry, the way I show up in certain environments. Like I just don't allow myself to react like everyone else. And I'm like, well, like I literally went to school for, you know, clinical nutrition and integrative health. And there was one class and there was a lady who was teaching us how to meditate. I was like, what is meditation? Never heard about that. And when she led us, I swear that was like the first time I was actually able to tune into myself, to like the voice, spirit, my intuition, like because I got to clear out the noise. We intentionally set that space. And I was like, I know this voice. It's like I've heard you throughout my life, but
Where you been?
yeah, like throughout my life. And it's like I just allowed the noise around me, the judgments, the fears to become so much louder that I forgot how to come back to you, you know? And from there, that shifted. Like that shifted from wanting to be in clinical nutrition and integrative health and working with people just in terms of like the physical aspect of your wellness. And that because I was like, no, there's other things in here. Like when people are telling me about their problems or saying like they're in the same cycle and they could be 80 years old and they're still dealing with something from like God when they were in their 20s, there's an energy here that has not been dealt with. And I started like learning to see that. Right. I was like, okay, what do we do? Because talk therapy ain't gonna work. You know, like we have to do some other work here. And like you said, it's like accountability is so important because and I want to hold space and say and pause and say that like it first step is finding the resources, the coaching, the you know the place that you need so you can learn the skills that you weren't taught, so you can learn the skills that are needed on your journey, and you just ask your higher self, God, to lead you right to the right resource. And when you do something that I like I just wasn't aware of it. And it took me cycles upon cycles to realize, oh, that's what mentorship is. It's like when you invest and you work with somebody, they're not going to do the work for you. The results are up to you, baby.
It sure is.
And that's the thing, like when it comes to those of us, like you were saying earlier, that we were conditioned, like, tell me what the next step is. They didn't tell you to go pick up the pen. Well, maybe they did, but like, and even if they do, like, you didn't go pick up the pen and do the work in the writing prompt, or do the action, do the exercise, like,
Or
but
take it seriously too,
hmm?
Is it, or even if they told you to do it, you taking it seriously is also a thing. Like, you have to want it.
Mhm.
And the first step is wanting more than what you have right now, because people get complacent, like we're conditioned to just be happy with what we have, and you're very fortunate, and people have it worse than you. And it's like, oh my God, as many times as people have said, oh, well, imagine how other people feel. And there's homeless people, and there are people that are starving. It's like, there's nothing wrong with wanting more than what you have. It's just, what are you going to do with that? Are you going to be bitter about it? Or are you going to do the work to get what you want?
Mm-hmm. And even if you do notice that, then are you doing anything about it for them? Then if not, then I'm
Come
sorry.
on.
Down.
You even bring them up then. What are we doing? Oh my God, there's hungry people. Let's go feed them. I don't want this food. Let's go give it to them. Where are
Yeah,
these
like,
hungry people?
and that goes back to like, okay, like what are you doing? Like if
Mhm.
there's a fire in you and you see something that causes you to want like think a different way, you're like, no, you know what, this isn't right. Like I feel there's another way to approach this, or then why are you not going with that flow of curiosity and exploring it rather than,
Be curious,
yes,
please.
rather than just complaining,
Mhm.
whether complaining and you don't do anything about it, or complaining because in the health field, just as an example, people say like, I want to lose all the weight right now. I was like, honey, you've been in this lifestyle for 5+ years. Like, do you really think like it's fair to say that everything you've done for 5+ years, or you even talked about habits and mindset you've been doing for 20, 30+ years, is just gonna
Magically be done.
like, no, let's be honest, you gotta go work through some shit. And also, you have to like begin to practice in the embodiment of, like you said, there's a quote where they'll say, and I think it goes like this, until the pain of where you are like outweighs, like, I don't know, like this, it's like the pain has to weigh so much more where you are for you to finally get your ass moving and do something about it so you can move where you want to go, right? Something like that.
Yes. Mhm.
And I'm like, unless you freaking admit, like, hey, this feels like shit. I look like I feel like I look like shit. I don't like how I feel like. I don't like my energy. Like, and that's okay to say you don't like something. Now, where do you want to move towards alignment of where you want to go? And that's what I want to say. It's like sometimes we get so stuck in what we don't like. The mindset, and when it comes with abundance and manifestations, like, okay, then tell me, tell the universe what.
Tell somebody, tell yourself, write it down, speak it out, yell it, do
Yeah.
something. It needs to get out, because you'll be amazed at what you're bottling up. You're like, oh my God, I didn't know I felt that way. Yeah. Your brain is holding all that in. And that's why we can't move forward, because you're stuck. Speak it. And then we can learn how to move forward from it,
And then
with it.
grow. Hmm. Hmm. And it's just like you're here to, this is your own self journey, your own cosmic journey to like divine journey, to really like advocate for yourself. Know that you have this unlimited source of like power resources within you. And especially when it comes to like this like aspect of like calling, where traditional world says, oh, I've heard it before, oh, you're going to want to help people get healthier and lose weight, there's no money in that. That is a conditioned statement. That is the
Absolutely.
belief and opinion from someone else. And it's such bullshit, because the way I see you, the way I see me is, and I see people who you can, say who are in their own, holistic side, I would say, more or less, right? Spiritual. We are like what traditional tribes back then, before everything started being anchored into like the industrial and etc., right? We had community medicine women, doula,
Oh,
shaman.
yeah.
These were the people, and they didn't give you a textbook. You apprentice. That's what mentorship is. You worked with them to learn. It would teach you so that you can take those skills and apply it for yourself, right? And
Absolutely.
that's what we are. Like, that's how I see it.
We're
And
getting back to that.
yes, and I see
The
that.
community.
And I definitely want to say, like you prefaced this like earlier on, like coming full circle, it's like, and you get to get paid for this if you
Oh
want.
my God.
Like, declare it. I want to get paid doing this. I'm ready to receive the clients. I am ready, to have my thriving business. I open up the channels, and however, God source wants to provide, well, here it is. In this moment, I decide I get to get paid for this. I get to have a thriving business. I get to have a beautiful community of, tribe, people I work with, because I decided, and now let's see how the universe will flow.
Exactly. I think grabbing hold of what I wanted to do was the scariest part. It was like, am I really going to do this for money?
Mm.
Is there money in this? Can I
Mhm.
thrive in this society still while doing the work that I feel is so intimate? Am I really going to ask people for money for me to be joining their journeys like this? Like, it felt so wrong. And I'm like, oh my God, this isn't for me. This isn't for me. I can't do it. I'll do it on the side. It'll be like a cute little hobby.
Ooh,
And then
uh-huh.
for the first year, not even the first year, for the first 6 months, I was like, yeah, like, I'm just going to do this with my full-time job. And like 6 months in, I'm just like, oh no, no. I know I'm needed in this space. And like the more I was going to my full-time job and being in this space, not being the doula, but being an outsider in this space, it felt like, oh, this is wrong. This is wrong. I can't just be here for a job. I have to
Mm.
find a way to do what I'm compelled to do. And I'm compelled to be at your side. Like, you can do it. What do you mean you can't? So it took so long for me to grab hold of it. Like, wow, yeah, no, this is it. And it took until now. I mean, these last 2 weeks, I have been making the moves to make this my full-time job, because this is what I want to do. And I don't even like calling it a job, because it is my passion. It is something that just means so much to me. And then it is also equally as rewarding when I hear, I couldn't have done it without you. Thank you so much for being there. I didn't know I was going to make it. And then I kept looking at you and I'm like, that's right. Focus. And we're getting through this together. I woke up so sore today and I'm like, why am I so sore? I know why I'm sore, because I had a mom hugging on me while we were pushing this baby out yesterday. And it's like, and if that's what you needed, I am here for you, because we have to get through this. Getting on the other side of it is always so scary, but once you're on that side, it is beauty. And
Mhm.
I needed to grab it, and I am finally holding it on with clenched fist, because I don't want to ever let it go. And I hope that I have this excitement and drive my entire career. I don't ever want to let it go now. And
Yeah.
I'm so excited.
And like that's where I feel like a lot of us are. And you know what? Sometimes it's a journey, okay, to get to that like fire empowerment. Like, I am claiming it. Like, yes, like I had to come back around and do a lot of energy like work within myself and the stories when I came back to like this conventional field of where I'm at right now. And to realize, you know what, I make money, but I'm still, I'm like, so I'm going to bet on myself, my husband, as you know, your brother.
My
Oh,
brother.
he always says business, like really it's like gambling. And like, do you bet on yourself do you believe, like, essentially you are the business, you're the one, like, you're saying with your actions that you're going to, that you will do it, put the skin in the game, what it takes to get this. And that's what business is. It takes a couple of years for the momentum to go, but, or even just mindset wise, but eventually when you put in, you have so much energy and potential, you have the purpose already here, God's hand is over your life. And when you finally say, yes, I'm going in, and hold that faith, all things will start to co-inspire. Like it doesn't matter if you have one or two clients, right? Like it'll start building momentum. And can you serve them faithfully? And can you hold the space for your business and where you are in your purpose? And just say, like, I know this is going to be it, because I just can't go back. It's not it for me in those other spaces, you know?
It's true.
And
it's like I grew up with my dad, so like my dad raised me. And when I told him that I wanted to start a business, I just remember the fear that he held on to that, because he's just like, oh my God, don't leave your job. And I'm like, I'm not gonna leave my job. I need my money, you know? But like, and it's so funny because now I'm not leaving my job, but I'm not gonna work there full time anymore, you know, because this is what I'm going to do, because I've decided that I'm going to take on the clients and I'm going to sustain myself with my doula clients. And that's what I'm going to do. And it's so funny that his fear scared me for a little, but then I realized, oh no, it's because he wants me to be okay. And he knows that we live in a capitalistic society. So I need to be realistic about living in a capitalistic society, but I also need to be fair to myself. And it wasn't fair to me anymore, not doing what served me. So that's when I had to tell him, I appreciate you worrying about me, Dad, but don't you worry, because I'm not worried. I have a lot of faith and I have the plan. I am not just running on the faith. I'm executing the plans that I've put in place, and I'm just going to show them humbly I can do it, and I will be doing it.
Mm-hmm. And you're making that conscious decision. You're making that conscious investment in yourself. You're betting on yourself. And I would say two things. Let me see. Let's go with this one. Because I know, well, I don't know why it took me forever to like realize this, but you're Capricorn.
Yes, ma'am.
And how would you say, in your own experience, what would you describe your Capricorn essence as, shows up like?
My drive, really. Once I decide on something, I don't think there's anything that can tell me otherwise. And I remember reading into being a Capricorn. I'm like, oh my God, that doesn't sound like me at all. But it's because I was raised to not be the one that was the leader, the hard worker, and the one that was driven. I was raised to be the one that followed. Just listen, and I'm going to do it. But I realized that that's not really who I am. Doing all of this internal work, I realized that I am the leader, and it's hard for me to accept that sometimes. But like, I've been really stepping into that role as like, I'm going to be the light that guides you through all of this. And I can be, because I'm the best person for it. Because I put in the work. I don't do it just because, oh, I felt like doing this, and oh, I don't feel like doing that anymore. That's not me. I commit, and I'm very good at committing. And I've told myself for so long that I haven't been that person. And it's true that I am. I am very driven, and I need to just own it. And I have been. So it's been wonderful. Being the goat.
Oh, right. And like, and that's what I'm saying. Like, yeah, you're going to start discovering parts of yourself the more you allow yourself to lead, take the step towards curiosity, self-exploration, like, and whether it ends up, you're creating something, right? Or again, you're exploring. Again, it's part of the journey to really like release the layers that you put on yourself, that you've taken and accepted from other people, right? And then you really get to see like who you are, and you get to define that. You get to use the tools in your life. You don't have to be a copy of the person who mentored you, you know? It's just like, how do I see it from my own perspective and lens? How am I going to use this tool? And that goes back to like how we were saying, like, we can't refrain away from the things of like science, right? Using those tools. That's what they're here for. But it's not like I have to be cold-hearted, and just spit out facts and forget the human I'm right, I'm
Oh God,
speaking with,
yeah.
you know? And I always think about just like how in ritual and magic, it's like we have a tool and we're working with it. Like I get to define how I'm going to use this. And I'm sharing this because like I'm in my, I've been in business mentorship like for a couple of years, and I've learned a lot of things, and now I'm in my space is like, oh, I don't have to use it that way. What have I gained through this experience and time with them, through this skill that I've needed to learn, and then I can implement in my own way. So now my own medicine is being shared, my own modality is being shared. And just in the co-creation of things, right? Like that's where it comes back to like I'm giving myself permission for full autonomy, step into my authority. And like it's okay. I'm not gonna mess this up because it's my life.
Exactly. There's nothing to mess up. There's nothing to do wrong. There is no one right way. That this is our life and we have to take ownership of it. We can't let society tell us what to do with it. These are our journeys individually.
Mm-hmm. And then one last question for you. How would you define the word nurturing? Like, what does that mean for you in your own field?
I think nurturing for me would be being seen. I feel like we aren't seen as individuals enough. And I want people to know that I see them. So I listen. I'm attentive about my listening. I want to know exactly where you are, because if you're pretending, then I can't help you. I want you to tell me who you are so we can get to where you want to be. And the way that I nurture is not, like I said, I'm not a helicopter parent. I'm not going to be on top of you about things. I am just going to remind you that I am here and I'm going to love you anyway. Just tell me what you need so that we can figure it out and we can do it together. I am always going to be there for the people that want me to be there for them. And I feel like that is the best way I can nurture someone.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And thank you. And I feel like too, it's like bringing it back to like self-expression is like nurturing is simply you being in that present moment, like right now, like without the judgment, without the thoughts, the stories. It's you giving yourself what you need, listening to what your spirit, higher self, God wants to give you in this moment. And whatever comes forth, exactly like we set our intention before we like jumped on and did this episode together. It's like we like let the words that come through be exactly what is needed. And I'm not gonna like try to manipulate. I'm not gonna try to control. I'm just gonna allow the flow to go, because I trust that whatever is coming through me, through us, is gonna be for whomever needs to hear it,
Absolutely. Girl, because I was scared. It's like it's so hard for me to talk about myself, and that's been something that I've had to work on this past year, is that like the first year that I was a doula, 2022 was my first full year of being a doula, and it was just so hard when people are like, oh, so like what's a doula? And I'm like, oh, a doula is someone that supports person through labor. And I'm just like, oh, that's pretty cool. And I was like, no, like when people ask me that question, I just want to tell them who I am as a doula, like why am I telling them the definition of a doula? It's
Okay.
like, yeah, that is so basic, but it's like, it's so hard for me to talk about myself because, like I said, I wasn't raised to be that person that was like in the spotlight. I am a back behind the scenes. I'm a theater kid. I was behind the scenes as a theater kid. I never was on stage because I just felt like maybe I wasn't deserving of the spotlight. I'm not sure. We're still working through it, but it's so hard for me still to talk about myself. And I'm just so glad that you invited me to do this because I need people to know that I'm here and I'm not going anywhere. This is me.
And you did a really great job, by the way, because you
Thank you.
took it, you showed up, and you allowed yourself to like talk about yourself. And even I'm learning from you.
Yeah. My sister,
Yes.
just, it's incredible.
And so, where can people find you? How can they work with you? How can they connect with you?
So I am at Doulalovelex, Lex, on Instagram. I have my own website. It's lovelight-doula.com. That's where you can find me, my bio, the packages that I offer at the moment. But mainly the internet. I'm getting better at these social things. I'm trying. Um, I have TikTok at Lexis Mason, LEXISMASON. And yeah, like I feel like I'm trying my best to be present on the internet, but because if I'm not present on the internet, it's because I'm present in the real world.
Mhm.
I'm doing the things, I'm being there, I'm showing up. But I would love for people to reach out to me to ask me more questions about how I can be there for them if they think that a doula is something that they would love to have in their life. I am always open to questions, but don't be shy because, like I said, I'm scared too. We're doing this together.
Exactly. And that's what the guide is. They're just like, they're a couple steps ahead of you, but yeah, at the same time, it's not like they're perfect. It's not like they know everything, but they know enough to lead you
And I'm gonna
and
find the
guide
answer
you.
if I don't know it.
Oh yeah, that's true.
I
Like
don't like
that,
not knowing.
and that's like the whole thing of like about us is like, well, if I don't know, I'm gonna find it. Trust me. Just wait for me.
Give
Let
me
me.
some time.
Yes. Well, thank you so much for like being here. I'm so honored to like seriously have you and like on my platform in my world, let people know about you because I just love my relationship with you. We always get beautiful downloads in our own journeys and we share it and we hold space for one another. And for those of you like listening, I will, link down Lexis's, contact where you can find her, connect with her down in the show notes. And as for me, as you guys know, um, beautiful shamanic high priestess medicine woman here. Yeah, I have my mentorship program right now. So you guys can have that where we have at least a 3-month minimum. And then also I'll be having a Therical, my coaching program container for newly awakened priestesses, medicine women, um, just beautiful souls who want to connect to the mystic, esoteric wisdom, their magic, bringing that out into their world. And whether you're in your traditional 9 to 5, whether you're in school, I've actually worked with people who are in like college, university, and just tapping into your own intuition, tapping into your own soul's gifts. And then other than that, you can find me at divine.cosmic.empress or divinecosmicjourney.com. And I thank you so much. Please let us know about the downloads, the things of inspiration, the aha moments. And we can't wait to connect with you again. Satnam.